The biggest goal of this channel is to speedrun my sanity into oblivion. To that end, I always try to make sure that I enjoy whatever I'm doing. So recently I've been doing a series where I'm playing games for the first time. Along my journeys I came across the oldest classic in the book, Diablo 1. I played it, I loved it, and I had a wonderful time with it. Now this is where the YouTube comment section comes in. They saw me enjoying myself as a rogue and figured that that transgression would not stand. According to them, playing ranged is easy, you just get to scream, aim and fire, raining death on everything at a nice and leisurely distance. So they started recommending the warrior. This class just walks up to the monsters, or tries to at least, and just pummels them to death. I figured sure, I'll do it. How hard could it possibly be? Well, turns out, pretty fucking hard. The first Diablo is the journey of falling down 15 and some change flights of stairs to fight the Lord of Terror. You start out in Tristram, which is a town built by people that figured having a quick connection to literal hell would make for a wonderful time and a great place of living. Seriously, there is a crack straight into hell about 5 feet from the town healer. Why would anyone live here? The gameplay itself is easy enough. You see a monster, you click a monster, you kill a monster. In theory, it's truly that simple. In practice, it turned out to be a lot harder, but we'll get to that. There are some quests along the way down, but that's the gist of it. So let's get going. Level 1 isn't too bad at all. There are no quests here, so all we need to do is to start upgrading our gear, which we do by finding a Falchion, almost doubling our damage right from the get-go. Possibly the greatest start we could have had, so I'm sure this run will be no big deal. Now for our level ups, there are two ways to go. Full melee, which has you investing in strength and vitality, or you can support set melee with magic to get access to spells. My guess is that using spells for utility is stronger, by a lot, but I think that would beat the point of the run that people asked for, and I'm not here to shortchange anyone. You guys asked for melee, so you're getting pure melee. Now I'm not outright banning spells, because I will be using the town portal spell to go back home, but besides that, all the others are gone for this run. The first quest I end up encountering is the poisoned water supply, which is easy enough. Some of the demons work for Nestle, so they cut off the water supply for the peasantry. This is solved easily enough. You go up to everyone poisoning the water and very politely drive a sword through their skull. This turns out to be a very convincing method. So once you've dealt with the final enemy, the water turns from yellow to blue, making it good to drink again, completing our first quest. At this point I can't avoid explaining something, so bear with me for a second. In a normal playthrough of Diablo, you don't get every quest. You get a random selection, like a tasting at a restaurant. This is great for a normal playthrough. You boot up the game, beat it, and afterwards you talk with your friends who had a completely different experience, making you boot up the game again to go and find out what they found. For making a YouTube video, however, this is awful, no matter what I get. With this system, there will always be quests that I don't encounter, making some people happy and some people unhappy. From my understanding, some quests replace others, which can mean missing things like the Butcher, the most iconic encounter in the entire game, even more so than Diablo himself. Again, to fix this, I decided to just use a mod called Devolution X, not related to Malcolm. This mod allows me to record the game at full screen instead of at this size, and it allows me to enable all the quests in a single playthrough, so no one gets disappointed. It also changes some other small stuff, so if things don't look exactly like you remember, that is why. Anyway, I had to get that explanation out of the way. Let's get back to the action. Speaking about the Butcher, his lair is on level 2. It's the giant blood and corpses filled room. Just go walk around level 2. You'll encounter it. You'd have to be a complete buffoon to miss it. As soon as you open the door, you hear the iconic
fresh meat.
Now I know a lot of people are like, why aren't you more surprised? But it's one of the most iconic encounters in all of gaming, and I've been told about it for over 30 years. So even though I had never done the fight myself up to now, I knew what was up. The fight itself was much easier than I had anticipated, which I think might be because I immediately doubled my damage at the start of the game. I was able to just go blow for blow and ended up needing only one potion the entire fight. Still very cool to finally have played through this iconic moment myself. Now I don't know if he always drops it or if I got lucky, but he ends up dropping his cleaver, and this weapon is just insane. I was already having a good time with my Falchion dealing 4 to 8 damage, and this cleaver deals 4 to 24, putting my damage at a very respectable 6 to 26, which is almost as much as my rogue had when I beat the game the first time. Now it is a two-hander, which might become a problem later on, but for now the Butcher's cleaver allowed me to just start axing questions to everything and anything in my way. The poisoned water supply quest rewarded me with the Ring of the Truth, by the way. A 10 resist all ring with some minus damage and resist all. With our first 2 quests done but plenty more to go, it is time to find out who is going to discover just how strong the Butcher's Cleaver is. It turns out to be the Skeleton King. His lair, as you can imagine, is filled with skeletons, which we all just deal with swiftly. Mr. King himself turned out to be a much harder fight than I had bargained for. Despite our super powerful cleaver, I wasn't even able to just stand there and beat him to death, having to take a bit of a break halfway through to recover some health. Now I did win the fight, but that was a lot more resistance than I had expected. As a reward for our troubles, we get the Undead Crown, a helm that has life stealing, nothing more and nothing less. So now every time we hit a thing, we get some life back. Even though I know I can always count on the comment section to make things worse, hence me doing a warrior run right now, I can also count on you guys to help me out. In my first run I didn't know what Garbat was doing, but tons of people came through and explained that I need to talk to him a bunch of times after moving on from him a bit. I didn't need to move very far though. Right next to Garbat I encountered Snotspill, who has stolen the tavern sign and then lost it again. He's asking me to get it back, cause some bullies took it. They aren't very far away, and after dealing with them, I decide that Snotspill shouldn't get the sign, so I deal with him and all his friends before returning the sign to the tavern. As a thank you for returning it, Ogden gives us the Harlequin crest. Now if only getting a Shaco was this easy in every other game. In the meanwhile, I've been checking up on Garbat the week, and apparently he has made an item that is so strong that he refuses to give it without a fight. One quick fight to his death later. It turns out that the too strong item was just a random magic cudgel, which I don't even bother picking up. I didn't know it when I started this run, but the warrior isn't so much a lot harder to play than the other classes. The hard part of this run is much more about actually catching up to the enemies. The archers on level 4 immediately show their personality. They don't fight you, they just leave. So every encounter turns into this awkward chase where I'm trying to corner them like I'm herding cats with a sword. I'm sure this is just a one-time annoyance though. It's not like there aren't just more and more archers on every floor. Level 5 confirms that no, this is not a one-time thing. It's not just that they run anymore, it's that they actively reposition every time you get close. So now I'm not fighting archers, I'm basically playing tag with enemies that refuse to acknowledge the rules of tagging. The good part here is that these first ones at least have the decency of following you around while trying to aggro you. It's a bold strategy as a goat archer, but who am I to argue? Despite the first group walking to their deaths voluntarily, this is where the first big problem of the run is starting to rear its head. In modern games, the enemies walk a little bit slower than the player to allow them to catch up so they can actually start their attacking. Diablo isn't a modern game, so that is very much not the case here. Instead, you end up chasing every single archer around until it hits a corner, which of course isn't frustrating at all. I mean, how bad could it get? No need to think about that for now though, as Griswold grants us yet another quest reward, the Empyrean Band. Level 5 does house a quest as well. It starts with reading the Book of Blood, and has you pressing a bunch of buttons that are guarded by some demons. And when you've pressed them all, you find Arcane's Valor. This armor is just a big pile of defensive stats, a very high armor class, 10 vitality, minus damage from enemies, fastest hit recovery. We were in need of a defensive piece of gear, so it's a perfect fit for our setup. Figuring I just got down to level 6, I decided to check my phone for a bit, which almost got me killed. Who cares about save zones, am I right? Should have stayed in town, nerd. Luckily I heard them coming, so I was on time, but that would have been pretty embarrassing. The Chamber of Bone has you reading the Ancient Tome, which from what I can tell taught you the Hydra skill. I'm obviously not using that, but I do think the little fellows look very cute, so I decided to give them a cameo. Having completed the Chamber of Bone quest also puts us at 8 out of 16 quests done. We are nowhere near the end of the game, but the quests are a bit front loaded, so there is plenty more fun to be had. That aside, I figured the halfway point should be mentioned. Level 7 is where it fully breaks down. Here I realized why people want me to do this run instead of doing it themselves. There are archers everywhere and none of them are interested in fighting me on my terms. I'm chasing them through half the dungeon while they slowly regenerate all the damage I just did. At some point during this I realize I'm not clearing a level anymore. I'm just following monsters around hoping they eventually get tired of existing. So I got to spend my time enjoying the glory that is watching them regenerate their life totals all the way back to full while chasing them. Also, I have a question I couldn't find the answer to, so maybe someone in the comment section knows. Why does it say that this Night Clan has 67 kills? I sure didn't die that many times, so who did? Having chased that goat far more than I would have ever wanted to, the next quest has revealed itself as well. It's a good thing our hero isn't illiterate, cause he needs to read a ton. The Book of the Blind reveals an item on the ground. It's guarded by some monsters, but they are pretty weak. I think it's a big, oh my god, it's an ambush attempt. But a lot of ambushes get solved nicely with some casual cleaving. Seriously, using all the quest rewards makes you a massive tank. All of them are just defensively slanted walls in item form, with the quest items very easily outperforming anything else I'm finding. We also kind of accidentally ended up doing a unique items only build. Level 8 has you encountering Tsar the Mad, who is angry when you try to read his book. I was going to put it back, but he's not having any of that and starts attacking. This fight was tedious. Every time I swung at him, he teleported away and started regenerating his life total. Him moving throughout the map also caused more enemies to join the fight, giving him even more time to regenerate. But in the end, it's just a matter of who is more stubborn, and it's not like I have anything better to do. So I chase him through the dark halls of level 8 until his health hits 0, finishing the first match in our best of 3. Wait, what? A best of 3? That's not possible. Yes it is, but I'll explain in a little bit. He ends up dropping the Black Oak Shield, which has a massive pile of stats and high durability. If I ever need to move away from the Butcher's Cleaver, I will have a shield waiting for me. Now let me explain about that rematch with Tsar the Mad. You see, this game doesn't ask if you're sure you want to reload, it just reloads. So when time for dinner came, I ended up pressing the load game option instead of quit game. And well, you know how it is. I was all the way back at the start of level 8, just in time for that rematch. Which went less smooth? Yes, let's call it that. That sounds like a good description. I don't know why I didn't just drink a potion either. Our best of 3 was decided in my favor, but I'm still salty about that first death of the run that just happened there. Speaking about not knowing things, I knew the second half of the game was going to be harder, cause well obviously, it's the second half of the game, it had damn well better be more challenging, that's the whole point. What I didn't know was that the kid gloves weren't just off, but they have been replaced by brass knuckles. Level 9 ramps up the difficulty not just a little bit, but in a 90-degree angle straight up all the way to max. As soon as I leave the door, I get attacked by a group of red storms. For the Diablo 2 players watching this that haven't played this game, these things are like if Death Lords and Souls had a baby. Also, you should play this game, it is amazing. Seriously, this is one of the best games I've ever come across. Anyway, I managed to take a few down before being forced to head back up the stairs and take a breather for a second while I refill my sash with potions again. Having done this, I go back down the stairs and there is no moment of loading, or moment of mercy or whatever you want to call it. The second my little cutesy tippy toes touched the floor, it was open season for whatever part of me they could rip off. I ended up going back up the stairs again for another breather after taking a few down. And third time turned out to be the charm. It took a lot of potions, a lot of near death moments and a lot of hoping I'd make it, but I ended up taking them down. Finally having made it into level 9, I am looking for two things. An anvil, which is just smack dab in the middle right over there. Obviously, I would totally put my anvil there as well, so I'll put that in my pocket to bring back up to Tristram. Thank you very much. The other thing that I want to pick up is a black mushroom, which I just randomly happened to stumble upon, cause I'm clearing all enemies on all the floors. I vaguely remember finding this in Diablo 3 as well, but never figuring out what it does there. Here, however, you take it to Adria, who tells you to bring it to Pepin the Healer, who then makes a potion out of it that casually gives you 3 to all of your stats, which is fucking insane. That's 2.5 levels worth of stats at the cost of picking up an item. Game design really had its wonderful moments before we all knew how to balance a game properly. It would have been even better if the game had actually given it to me, cause that is what is supposed to happen, but I completed the quest and just never received the potion. Might be because of the mod, I have no way of telling. That's okay though, I didn't want those stats anyway. I also brought the anvil back up by the way. No need to help or anything guys, not like that's heavy as a really heavy thing or something. I'm a strapping young lad, I can carry it up myself, don't worry about it. As for the reward, Griswold gives you his edge, which sounds very dirty, which in turn is kind of appropriate, cause I didn't know it yet, but this sword is really fucking good. I'll show why later. Just know that I now realize why knockback is so bad in Diablo 2. Speaking about game balance, it's time to head back into the meat grinder, despite me wearing basically god tier defensive gear with a ton of damage reduction. Blackstorm here is just wiping the floor with my life total. He isn't so much just trying to kill me, as he seems to be just speedrunning how often he can make my life bar transparent with the remainder of his very short life. Having weathered that storm, I do realize it might just be about time to actually go and wear a shield. So I equip the Black Oak shield I found all the way back from Tsar and the Griswold's Edge. I just mentioned it, but this thing is pretty damn good. And by that I mean it completely stun locks anything coming your way as long as it's up against a wall. Just to show an example, I had so much trouble up to now, and just look at what I'm doing to the Flayer here. Just pimp slapping him all over the place, no questions asked. So all I need to do now is just get them to a corner. There's not a lot going on in levels 11 and 12, so instead we are going to continue our story on level 13, where we encounter the Warlord of Blood. As the name implies, this is supposed to be a very hard boss, with him being a warlord of blood and all. It has war and blood in the name after all, can't get more on the nose than that. Doesn't matter what he's called though, or how many legions of the damned he commands. Knockback just stun locks him right out of the game. I figured that with this, the game would basically be over at this point. I would just walk up to whatever I wanted, creepily walk it into a corner and stun lock it. On level 14 however, I got reminded by some blood knights that they didn't hear no bell. They ended up giving me a taste of my own medicine as they cornered me and stun locked me to death. I had potions left that I could have used, but I'm so stuck I knew the writing was on the wall no matter what I did. The second time around I was able to lure them back a bit, putting myself in a better position to fight them from, and was able to defeat the Blood Knights. One thing I never expected to say, but here we are, is that this game made me hate following naked ladies. The hardest part of this run wasn't so much the combat. As long as you know where to position your character, you will make it through. The hard part is that it's not just ranged enemies running away, it's succubi running away while other enemies are actively trying to kill me for participating in the chase. So I'm stuck in this situation where I'm sprinting after something that refuses to stop while getting punished for the act of sprinting itself. At this point I'm not even sure I'm playing Diablo anymore. It feels more like I accidentally signed up for cardio training in hell. I think I finally understand the warrior class. It's not the melee combat that is the problem, it's the regret in your poor life choices. Those are why everyone has been shitting on melee for 30 years. Not all is lost though, someone's standing still over there. It's Lazarus, who gives us our final optional quest. He tells us that he dropped an elixir on level 15, and he wants us to go and get it. This turned out to be really easy. It was the literal first thing I saw. There was one monster there to symbolically try to make the quest not free, but this ended up being the easiest quest in the entire game. Back up in level 14 we give Lazarus what he asked for, and as our just reward we get the Veil of Steel. And what a beauty she is. 50% resist all, armor, strength and vitality. As its drawback, she lowers your maximum mana by 30, but we weren't using that anyway, so I'll gladly take this massively overpowered helm. Further into level 15 we come across a weapon rack holding the staff of Lazarus. We need to show this to Deckard Cain back in Tristram. After doing so, a portal leading to the Archbishop Lazarus's lair opens up, so after chasing and clearing out the final stragglers and answering the question we asked ourselves a while ago, the how bad could it be question, that one. Well, this bad. With everything finally taken care of, we head into the red portal. The lair is an early version of the Chaos Sanctuary. In here you press a button, get teleported to a pack of monsters that you have to deal with and repeat that until you're out of monster packs, so you can get to the boss. We kind of catch Lazarus at an awkward moment. There is the corpse of a boy just laying around and a couple of scantily clad succubi. All in all, not a great look, so they aren't exactly happy to have us just randomly stumbling in. This is another one of those fights that isn't exactly hard. The succubi go down in just a few swings and Lazarus himself is just the annoying guy from level 6 in a trench coat. He ends up teleporting all over the map every time I take a swing at him, which, not gonna lie, was really fucking annoying. But once he got himself stuck in a corner, it was just business as usual for the mighty Griswold's Edge, making the advisor meet his end. Speaking about endings, there is only one quest left to go, one final floor. An entrance opened up in the middle of the pentagram when we dealt with the Archbishop, so let's hop on down and see what happens. Well, it turns out that thanks to all the quest rewards I am pretty damn powerful, and it turns out that I'm able to work my way through anything the game is throwing at me at this point. There are some bosses like Sir Goresh here, but had I mentioned knockback yet? I don't think I did. So there is only one thing left to do, deal with the Lord of Terror himself. Now if you're thinking, a melee one-on-one fight with a giant demon, that's gotta be one of the balls to the walls hardcore gaming moments of all time. You would be well, completely wrong. Did I mention knockback is strong yet? Cause it stun locks the mighty Lord of Terror just as much as anything else in the game. So yeah, I don't know what to tell you, I just slapped the Dark Lord into a wall and then killed him. It barely qualified as a fight. And there you have it. We have gone down all the levels of the Tristram Cathedral, ending up in hell itself fighting the Dark Lord Diablo. On our travels we have done every single quest this game has to offer, and in the end we have saved the world. So all there is left to do is to answer the question at the start of the video, how hard could it be? Well, it turns out that it's hard, not because the gameplay is hard or the mechanics are complicated, but because it will make you want to cry yourself to sleep at night while dreaming about monsters running away. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one.